everybody. It is still morning, right? Thank you so much for not hightailing it. I apologize for being so late. I think that the clock is just out to get me when it comes to trying to start on time. I totally thought I had it today. I guess, just never think you got nothing, right? How are you guys? I'm very happy to be here. Where is everyone from? I'm from Colorado Springs. Hey, Bluestone. I've been to Colorado Springs. Man, those red rocks. What is that place called? Like the Park of Kings or the Rock of Kings? Can you tell me? It's something of Kings, I remember. It's only been 35 years. So thanks for being here. Mississippi, Lodi, South Africa, Oklahoma, Garden of the Gods. There we go. Has anybody been there? It's freaking incredible. I've also had the good fortune of seeing a concert at Red Rocks. Red Rocks is either Colorado or Utah. I think it's Utah, actually, right? Um, so let's get into it. Everything I say is simply my opinion. It's simply for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational, and last but not least, my videos are all made for YouTube, which is an entertainment platform, as we all are well aware. Garden of the Gods, you guys. It is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't been there, Google it when we're done here, or if you have another device and want to Google it right now. So again, I am so sorry for being late. I feel like it's really rude to be late, and I just want you guys to know that I do not take you for granted. Um, I keep changing all these flipping lights and I love it, but I've got to get it to where I'm not changing it anymore. So what happens is like I change one little thing and then it's this domino effect. So it's been, it was kind of a set design for a while and then it just has been morphing and I've just got to like get it nailed down because then what happens is things get knocked over. It's nuts. And then, like I said, it's like an I Love Lucy episode. So let's get into it right away and waste no more of your precious, valuable time. It's 2 minutes, 30 seconds in. And can I just kick this one off? Oh, you're so sweet. Crime and Crochet are my hyper focus. You are the bomb. So thanks so much for being here, everybody. I see all my friends. It's really cool to wake up with you. Okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss first, right off the bat. As far as the timeline on the night of the savage, let's just say savage unalivings, because they are, right? They're absolutely savage. Like, how on earth anybody could do that is insane. It's completely insane. So remember back when the case first started and the cops kept saying that they were about 100% sure that the slayings happened between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. And then a little bit into it, they said, oh, we've got it. It happened from 4 to 4:20. And then it was in the, what was it? The first affidavit or warrant where Corporal Payne said that everything happened between 4 and 4:25, which didn't make sense because they said that they had videotape of the blue or of the white car racing away at 4:20. I almost said 9:20. Am I a little scattered or what? I'm gonna just calm the fuck down. So I was so ramped up last night or yesterday when I rewatched my video. It was almost impossible doing a video with, like I said, everybody in the house had been sick. There was only one or two that were still kind of sick. Everybody was pretty much better. But I don't know about you guys, but my family is so annoying when they're sick. Like, I do so much for them every freaking day of their lives, and they completely take me for granted. And then when they're sick, they just want to be the biggest babies in the world. And of course, I want to help them out and take care of them, especially because I'm probably going to be next, right? Anyway, it was just close to impossible to get online, and I was so happy to be in the video with you guys. Thanks so much, those of you that were able to make it. And, we had our little troll experience, and that was cool because we were able to use it as a learning experience, hopefully, right? Um, and the things that I spoke about yesterday, I felt rushed, and I would like to take a little bit more time and speak about the same issues with you today. But this is the one that I feel like I want to highlight. And if you guys want to let me know what you want to highlight. Um, that the cops don't want to admit that they were right in front of the house when it was going down between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. You guys, we've all seen the body cam footage. If the cops were right there, I don't like to talk about it being planned. I don't like to talk about it being a conspiracy because that just seems insane, right? But I don't see how something that epic could go down without a nod from law enforcement. I really don't. That was my very, very, very first and foremost thought when it first happened, is that there's no way something like that could go down without law enforcement giving the green light. And it was only recently that I found out that Chief Fry says he was out of town that day. And that just raises my eyebrows even more. So, who's going to take care of you when you're sick? And mother's sacrifice never ends. I know I can't get sick, right? Never will I die. Are you serious? Oh, what did she say? I don't want to go back. I'm not going to do that to myself because it just makes it nuts. Especially lately, you guys. I think that YouTube has been like on meth or crack or something. I think those are one and the same. But I don't think it's just me. It might be just the channels that cover certain topics. But I think that YouTube has been undergoing some revisions or upgrades or whatever, and that there's a lot of glitches. And one of them is that it's super jumpy when you try to back scroll. It's a nightmare. And then you don't know where you are. Like, are you back? Are you front? Are you in the middle? It's just stupid. So I'm curious, but I'm not gonna I'm curious what you were addressing, Miss Amir Zaza, if you want to say what you're addressing with Are You Serious? They changed the timeline after they had video proof that BK was not there at that time. They changed the TOD to fit the BK narrative, in my opinion. You said it, Heather. Thanks for saying it, so I don't have to. That's exactly right. But also, they didn't want to try to, once those body cam videos were released, they didn't want to explain, like, oh, yeah, we were standing right there and we have it on our body cams. But, we were told to let it happen. So we didn't bother. I mean, if there were blood curdling screams, like it seems like there would have been. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And Squirrely Burger agrees with Heather Mosier. Well, I get really cautious, paranoid about being like a conspiracy theorist because that's not my thing. I'm out for the truth. I'm not out for creating trouble. I'm not out for accusing people that shouldn't be accused. But there's so many questions coming into play, just more and more and more. And then over the weekend, yesterday, Jay is for Justice did a 4-hour live of all of the press conferences. And I haven't gotten to watch the whole thing yet, but the parts of it that I did get to see, knowing what we know now, I highly recommend the 4-hour Jay is for Justice of the pressers. I highly recommend it because knowing what we know now, it changes everything. And you see the chief get really tangled up, get really frustrated, tripping over his words, contradicting himself, getting agitated. cutting off the conference. Okay, we're done here now, basically. Um, it's pretty wild. It's pretty freaking wild. He thinks this is what liars do. Chris Watts, remember him? They think, oh, Sammy, there's a good one. They think that they can handle these freaking interviews. Scott Peterson, Sammy, Chris Watts, they go in front of a camera because they're so freaking narcissistic and overly confident and good. I'm glad they do. Let them keep doing that. Right. So is that what we're dealing with Chief Fry? A crazy freaking narcissist to the tune of Sammy Watts, Scott Peterson? Is that what we're dealing with? I need a drink of water. I hope I'm wrong. He was just nervous, right? He's just a small town Barney Fife Keystone cop, just nervous in front of the camera. He gloats. That guy gloats. I don't like people who gloat. You can't trust people who gloat. People who gloat are nuts, in my humble opinion. Okay. Asked who rode clowns on your thumbnail. Road clowns. Oh my goodness. Too funny. Being that it was so horrific and with a knife, it is possible they were used for organ harvesting. Squirrely Burger, stop. I'm just kidding. No, I am out for the truth and ritualistic stuff too. The Titanic ritualistic crap. The possibilities are endless, and that's why I believe that that's why we, the public, just want to nod our heads and accept anything we're told by the authorities because we don't want to know. We can't handle the truth. Honestly, really, truly. We would rather just say it was some complete nut who, was chubby in high school and had problems with drugs and problems with chicks. I'm sorry, but isn't that like 90% of the population? I mean, crazy, 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 crazy. So yeah, the term clown car comes to mind. And when they're all marching up for like the press conferences and they're all like in a line, like little ducks following their mommy, it just looks so absurd. Like, too organized, like classroom lineup. Okay, go, go, go. Like they're perfectly spaced. When it's like 8 of them are up there, the police chief, um, captain, somebody below the captain, the president of the university, the dean from the university, and then somebody from probably like the state crime scene or state highway patrol. So there's like 8 of them and they're perfectly spaced, like 2 to 3 feet apart. Like they rehearsed it, you guys. They're putting on a show. And this is the problem with being gaslit is you want to accept it at face value and you can't keep up with their gaslighting. They were putting on a show. That's all that was. And it was weird to me that they were doing it on campus in a campus building because remember, it's an off-campus house. It has nothing to do with campus. Right? So why in the world would they do it on campus? I'm going to be sick. My 3 a.m. epiphany this morning. Annie Ruler, I trust you. I don't want to know what your epiphany was, though. I'm scared. Why did she fry? No, it was a targeted attack. Very confident Perp was not going to whack another home because knew it was team of eliminator from other cars that don't tell. And when you talk about the cars that tell and the cars that don't tell, that's when it really sounds like it's time to take out the tinfoil hat. Maybe if we don't use that word and we just use words like thugs, just replace that with thug. and I'm going to reread it because I think that Annie Ruler is super, super sharp. My 3 a.m. epiphany this morning was, why did she fry? No, it was a targeted attack. Very confident Perp was not going to whack another home because knew it was team of eliminator from the other thugs. Okay. Let that sink in, right? Good morning, all. A little late. You are right on time. You know what? I honestly, I started just a couple minutes before 10, I think, just barely, maybe 10 minutes to 10. So you haven't missed too much. Let's see, we're 15 minutes in. No, it was like 5 minutes to 10. My apologies once again. I love to be prompt. I love it. And, there was a big snafu this morning, but I guess I just have to plan for big snafus every time I'm going to go live, right? I don't want to schedule it so late because I'm excited to get started. If anything, I want to schedule it earlier, but I've learned to give myself a good cushion of time. So 9:30, I'm going to try to stick with that and try to do it at 9:30. See how that works. I remember watching an anime video where she took a vacation up to Washington State during this time, but has erased it. Could she be involved? I was confused for a minute. So Xanamay. I knew who you meant before my eyes went to the next one. It took me a second. I remember watching an anime video where she took a vacation up to Washington State during this time, but has erased it. The fact that she erased it is what brings it even more suspicion. Could she be involved? If Xanamay is involved, then we know we got some super evil thugs, right? It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, obviously, you have super evil thugs, whether it's one thug who did this on his own accord or whoever did it is the lowest of the low, the lowest of the low. And how could one person do that in 9 minutes with that stair step between the living room and the kitchen and not tripping and falling either time? And how in those 9 minutes would people not be yelling and fighting, and the people that were there that weren't assaulted, they would hear them, you guys. I've been on the fence. I've been in the camp of, okay, they didn't hear it. They knew what happened. They chose to wait 8 hours to call 911 because they had to get their sorority leaders there. They had to stage it. That's what they do. That's what people do. They stage it. Remember what I was saying on Friday about anything but the truth? They will tell you any story, no matter how bad it makes them sound. Again, remember Chris Watts when he's telling you how he's like putting his kids in that thing. I don't think he did that. I mean, I think that he belongs in jail and I think that he was part of it, but I don't think he dropped his kids in there. He didn't know how to describe it. He said that they kind of just slid right in. They didn't slide right in. They didn't slide right in. So he's going to tell that story and be that disgusting freak rather than just let any other party involved deal with the consequences of their crimes. Anything but the truth. That's the problem with narcissists and pathological liars is they just want to hide the truth. It's a power trip. It's a power trip. If you ask them what they had for lunch, they're not going to tell you if it was a salad. They'll tell you it was soup, right? That's how pathological liars are. They just they can't even come up with the truth because they're so used to fabricating it. Okay, where are we? It's not jumping right now. So I am probably going to get jinxed now that I said that. Castle Rock, Texas. Is anybody here from Truckee? Contrived, Rachel Smith. Hello. Good choice of verbiage right there. Staged, yes. contrived and staged. Pullman is looking for a guy who is exposing himself and peeping. Know his name, but haven't arrested him yet. Well, Cranky, I'm sure they have a lot of those. I did see something about that. I think that was on J is for Justice. Um, it kind of seems to me like they're trying to distract folks. Like, oh, well, that's old news. Let's go with the new news. We have, a pervert out there. Yeah. And some of them work for the departments. I mean, seriously, you guys, if you are not fully informed about the Pullman Police Department and the Wazoo Police Department in recent years, you need to be. These guys are a bunch of freaking pervs running around on company time with guns, with badges, doing what they say they're looking for this guy, basically doing the same freaking thing. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm really disgusted. Okay. I like to be positive. Where's the rainbows and puppies? I periodically organize press conference. They are planned and rehearsed. Well, of course, absolutely, 100%. Thanks for that insight, Elizabeth Peters. But then when you have things like questions from the public, that changes, those are curveballs. And when you think that you can keep answering things the same way that you planned and rehearsed, and then you're getting those curveballs, that's when Chief Fry is like, okay, we're done here. I'm out of here. I'm running. I'm hightailing it. Like, abruptly ending a giant press conference like that one with all the 8 people. He said something like he got really mad with this one reporter that kept asking too many good questions. And he said, okay, 2 more questions. And then they all bolted. And the reporters were all like looking at each other like, wait, what? Because that was like the first big press conference in like a month. And then they made it not so big. What happened to your comment, Sassafras? Did it get ejected? Were there lots of capitals in it or something? Crime and Crochet, do you know? Cranky, I read that last night. Crazy. Yes, car word insinuates ugly gang. These groups are handsome and educated, pretty people, in my opinion. You know what, Annie Ruler? Like I've said, you're way too sharp. Yeah. And that's also a really good disguise. It's like the Scooby-Doo disguise. You put on a handsome, pretty face and you're educated and people don't suspect you. I mean, I can attest to that when I was a big stoner when I was in high school. Most people thought I was a jock because I did a lot of sports and I was very studious. I got all solid A's and people had no idea. People had no idea. And that's how I hit it so well. I was like, yeah, I'm a jock. Yeah, I'm honor roll. Yeah, how could I possibly be up to my eyeballs in my chemical dependency? And it was definitely a chemical dependency. And a girl woke up to a guy in a red sweatshirt standing over her with a knife. I know. And that is heinous. And if you're watching these same things that I'm watching, Cranky, with J is for Justice, yeah, really, really nuts. I think that was in 2021. So like a year prior. Wow. I wouldn't doubt it was Zanny. No, no, that girl is monster. And yeah, she's probably one of these people that Annie Ruler just talked about. I mean, she is very pretty, especially if you guys seen pictures of her in her uniform. She looks fantastic. She'd be getting some badge bunnies chasing after her. Oh, too funny. I'm confused. Who took a video in Washington State? Annie Potts, Xanamay. That's who we're talking about. Remember with her whole like hazmat kayak videos? I mean, I remember the very first time she showed up on the scene was in the interview that Ickmael was doing with Upchurch, and for some reason she was there. And I was just like, who is this woman? Like, why is she here? There was no explanation until towards the end when she said, "Oh, I have a video of a beautiful Mexican family having a beautiful Mexican family party." Have we ever seen even a still shot of said video? But she's the one with the videos. Like, she made the video of kayaking around Prosser Lake for no reason, right? So let's see. Which comment? I only see the one where you asked what happened to it, plus one saying staged. And who's Xanamay? Annie Potts. Xanamay is oh goodness, who is she? She is from Ukraine and she works for NASA, and she is like a damage crew cleanup control spin doctor for military, I think army. I'm not 100% sure, but she's highly ranked and skilled and certified, and she's cute and purty, and she's a snake. She's an absolute snake. And she's a liar. So she was from the Kylie Rodney case. So she worked closely with SF Investigates and one or two other unsavory types. Bluestone says, referring to the Ryan Church lady who he had an issue with, who was in the kayak in the Kylie case in Truckee. I like the way you said that. Okay. Then who do you think put his kids in there? Captain Napton? Then who do you think put his kids? Oh, Watts. Well, you know, if you're familiar with the Watts case, it's kind of a no-brainer. There were a couple other people involved. The leave him alone, Jim, and the person who said, leave him alone, Jim. So the girlfriend. There were actually a couple other people involved. What was that guy's name? Troy McCoy. Troy McCoy, really, for real. And then there was one other person. Oh, the girl, the friend that was staying with the girlfriend for the weekend. I forget her name, but she was a doppelganger for Shanann. So there was a whole team of them, and maybe Mr. Watts did it all by himself, and they stayed over at his girlfriend's apartment and they weren't involved. Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, there's so many inconsistencies with that whole storyline, and they wanted to clean it up. They wanted to clean up the case because Anadarko was going through a multi-billion-dollar merger, and Watts case took a few $1,000,000 off the top, and if they didn't clean it up lickety split, it was going to take more millions off the top. So they got it all nice in a package, put a red bow on it, and said done as quick as possible. And that's how typically any disgusting tragedy is handled, especially something as horrific as a quadruple slaying, which is even a lot more violent than what Watts did with the family, the familicide. Really disgusting. Yeah, whoever did it, Captain Napton, they had to stomp on one of the girls' heads to get her in there. And it's hard to say which girl because the younger one was a little more round than the older one. So it could have been either one of them. But they had to stomp on her head to get her in there. And there was like a tuft of her hair on the thing. And Chris was describing that he just slid them right in. There was no problem. Like they just went right in like it was big enough. It was 8.5 inches wide. It's like the size of a paper plate. So Zanny covers up a lot. Oh, does she? Is that her thing? Heather, Tell me you're just a tinfoil hat wearer, please. Very suspicious person that inserted herself into the Kylie Rodney case. I love your guys' comments. Okay, I'm gonna just keep speed reading because I'm a few minutes behind, like 11 to be exact. Crime and Crochet, my hyperfocus. After stage comment, I said, "Hi, everyone." And it has a red line next to my name. No big deal. Just never seen that before. Oh, that's bizarre. Wow. That is really, truly bizarre. That makes me a little nervous, sassafras. What's going on there? They're watching. That opening on the holes was only 7 inches wide. 7, Susan? I thought it was 8.5. But yeah, I mean, none of the 3 stories that Chris Watts told are true. None of them, in my opinion. Um, yeah, absolutely insane and so, so sad. I mean, what a monster. What an absolute monster. Anyone who was involved, disgusting. And then there was like the whole multi-million-dollar settlement that they were trying to get because they were going to stage it. This is the true conspiracy theory with the Watts case, you guys. Some of you are probably well aware that there were people that had accidents at sites like that who'd gotten multi-million-dollar settlements. So my theory and some people's theory is that they had the doppelganger to drive Shanann's white Lexus out there and blow the place up. There was the leak that they'd been communicating about. And with her kids in the car, allegedly, and her, Chris Watts would have gotten many millions of dollars in a settlement, and he could have split it with everyone involved. So that's the theory. That's a theory. I didn't come up with that theory, actually. A bunch of other people came up with it. And at first I thought it was insane. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Come on. Put down the crack pipe, right? She's spreading truth today. Let's get the likes up, you guys. Kevin, hey. I don't like to talk about these things. It's sad. It's scary. I mean, I do like to talk about the truth and I do like to talk about true crime, but it is so disgusting. It is so disgusting. And I wish it weren't true. I mean, I am part of the public that would like to just believe the gaslighting lies that, yeah, we just got this one crazy nut and everyone else in the world is fine. So lock up the one crazy nut and on with business as usual. But that's why these things keep happening because nothing is that simple. Nobody lives in a vacuum. Things are connected. That's just life. So, okay, enough truth. Let's get on with the show. Hopefully, it won't happen again, sassafras. And yes, but certain information being public can hurt a case. So I understand LE, of course, absolutely. I understand Ellie not answering all of the good questions at pressers. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, that goes without saying. But they also shouldn't be real nervous because they should know that they're going to have to keep those cards close to their chest. When they're nervous like that, it makes you think that they're hiding something not in a professional way, in an unprofessional way, in my opinion. Sorry for being late. You're fine, Dilly Owens. We are all here, and yeah, we're just half an hour in. So, Elizabeth Peters says, I was addressing your comment, all the press conference participants being sent like they were told what to do. They are. Yeah, can't control questions people ask. Yes. Thanks, Elizabeth. Lots of journalists in the beginning at these press conferences, then a handful in attendance. Were they restricted? Huh. That's a really good question. Very, very good question. Maybe it was like a lottery or something. Sassafras says, no worries, probably some glitch to mess with us. Crime and Crochet are my hyper focus. Miss Justice A to Z is spreading good meat and potatoes of truth today. Let's hit the like button, guys. So Kevin, I'm gonna guess, is a somebody who's done a lot of research on the Watts case. It's a really bad case for anybody who's not real familiar with it. Um, it's worth looking into, in my opinion. I tried so hard not to. I really did. I tried to stay away from that one because I just, it just taps right into my own PTSD trauma. Um, Famous last words. I told Adam everything. Started plan in action. In my opinion, Fry scrambled out of town. Wow. And you know me, Annie Ruler, because you are such a regular. I have said consistently, and I'll still say it, that I am not convinced that that audio is accurate to what the girls were discussing when walking down the street. I could be wrong, but I'm suspicious of it. I always have been. If it is accurate, then yeah, what you're saying is highly possible or probable. That would explain the herp bump, sassafras. What would explain the herp bump with Xanamay? I'm totally lost, but yeah, ugh, no clue. So sorry, I don't know who that is. Yes, I remember seeing the video of the beautiful Mexican party. Oh my goodness. And she's on the Idaho case or involved, tied to Payne or Kopaka. I don't know that she is. That was somebody saying that she'd taken a trip to Washington, put up a video, and then took the video down. Um, it's a very good question because, yeah, the military connection. Wow, Annie Potts. Um, Kevin says the intuition you feel about law enforcement is absolutely right, and that's the Holy Spirit speaking through you. Please always follow your gut. Please always continue to seek truth and speak truth. I do, Kevin, and I appreciate that support because I feel like I have a good track record with trusting my instinct, and um, I do like to trust people. I'm not looking to be skeptical, but I do think that we always have to have a healthy amount of skepticism. Um, but yeah, it's unfortunate to have people in positions of power and authority that are gloating. I mean, I'll just say that gloaters don't belong there. Free hazmat, Susan. I love that. I love that. So cute. You are being an inspiration to other women to speak on their hunches and expose truth. Continue to do what you do, regardless any threat of being canceled. Do you know the FBI is being investigated? Well, I would think so because yeah, there's just all kinds of shenanigans. All kinds of shenanigans. So yeah, Kevin, I often recommend a book that is really good for fine-tuning those spidey senses called The Gift of Fear. It's an amazing book. Gavin DeBecker. It's been around since the 90s. And it was an Oprah's favorite. It was a lot of people's favorite. It's a book that a lot of law enforcement professionals use as well. So whether you have good spidey senses or you don't have good spidey senses, it's like a Bible of how to develop and sharpen those skills to keep yourself safe. Um, so Gavin DeBecker, Gift of Fear. And the reason the weird title, Gift of Fear, is because he's saying, like, don't get freaked out by your fear. Address it as a message and a gift and trust that. So it's a gift to have those instincts telling you that something's up. Watching on the TV. I'm on TV. NK was the mastermind in the Watts case, Jaded Warehouse. I like to say this because Watts had a very controlling mother. He had a very controlling wife. I don't think he all of a sudden started thinking for himself. So let's just leave it at that. I mean, he just went from the fire to the frying pan, and then from another fire to frying pan. I mean, he knew how to pick them, didn't he? And I mean, I think Shanann was a fabulous person. I am not as critical as some people are. She certainly was in control. I'll give her that. I don't have much negative to say about Shanann at all. She was amazing, absolutely amazing. Um, Other people have their criticisms, and that's fine, but that's not my thing. Um, Especially given the circumstances. But even without the tragedy, I mean, she was a remarkable person. She was extremely driven and extremely bright. So, and she had really cute kids, and she was a really good mom. And it's absolutely tragic that none of them are here on the earth. It's so disgusting. Um, I didn't follow the Watts case very closely. I avoided it like the plague. It was only maybe a couple years ago that I finally caved. And Armchair Detective and Watts the Obsession were two that I watched a lot of their older stuff to get up to speed. I highly recommend them. It's it was a big case that brought a lot of our top YouTube content creators came onto the scene with that. Obviously, Kelly with What's the Obsession came on with that one. Um, Zav Girl came on with that one. I think Jay is for Justice might have come on with that one. A whole bunch of the really good ones came onto YouTube because of that case, more than I can name. But a lot of them are still around and still doing fantastic work. And it's a fascinating case for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think one of the reasons it's fascinating is because you have like live footage of everything and so many photographs of everything. So Xanamay is actually Russian. She came to the US when she was 18, started working for the military, and now works for NASA in the nuclear bomb facility near San Francisco. Squirrely Burger, dang. So why did she lie about being Ukrainian? Because she had that whole story about being Ukrainian. And she's a hacker as well. I I believe you 100%. 11, 1.5 end to end. 1.5 end to end. Not sure what you're referring to, Susan Dodge, if you want to say. You are right about the paper plate analogy. And I didn't come up with that. That was something a lot of people kicked around trying to really get to the idea of exactly how wide that little ding opening was. So disgusting. So disgusting. And yeah, when the detective asked Chris Watts, "Did you have to stomp her in?" The answer's in the question. And he was like, "No, no, she just slid right in." It's like, then why is he asking that question? Um, so let's see. Oh, 8.5. That's what I thought you meant. Okay. 8.5. Cool. Um, Good summary, squirrely burger. Yes, I agree. Sick world we live in. Four frogs, fat asses. It can be, and I think that that's why doing our group chats like this is so powerful, because we can address this crap, learn from it, and hopefully do something positive with that. Um, that was in response to Jazz Bunny Badge comment. Sassafras. Oh, too funny. Too funny. I think it was Annie Ruler who reminded me of the Badge Bunny thing yesterday, right? Um, let's see. Why Zanny went to Washington. We all said something is going to happen there soon. I forgot about that. And then boom, Idaho happened. Right. And we were thrown the curveball because we're like, oh, well, it's Idaho. It's not Washington. We were thinking something was going to have to happen in Washington, not like 4 miles outside of Washington. Oh, wow, Heather Mosier. Wow. I'm glad you remember her taking that trip, because I think I'm the only one who's mentioned it. And I remember too, now that you guys have helped me recall, I totally remember that. And did she say Eastern Washington? Um, I wish I knew how to operate the Wayback Machine so we could pull her deleted videos. Ew. Nerdy Addict. Are you familiar with his channel? You could probably make a request, like send him an email. Also, Shanda with Squirrels on Fire has mad computer skills. So I would request it from one of those two. I bet they'd be willing to help. And then like the guy Drip Drop who does Crime Circus, he has, I think, a whole staff that help him out. So, that's a good way to go too, because there's a lot of people that love sleuthing and they love this type of thing, but they don't want to be in the front lines. They just want to do the legwork and then, give the material. They don't want credit. They don't want nothing. They like to do it. So I'm sure you could find somebody who could help with that. The Wayback Machine. Okay. Am I all caught up? What? I am. So I'm right in line with you guys. This is great. Oh, I'm so excited. That never happens. I'm always like trying to catch up, trying to catch up. So let's see. I remember us all joking. It must be Xana's next job. Wow. I remember that too, you guys. Wow. You as a chat, and let's give credit to, was it Squirrely Burger? Um, yeah, you had a chat epiphany. Squirrely Burger, you did it. You made it happen. That's the magic of these conversations. I mean, seriously, that is the magic of these conversations. That's why I would much rather do a live than a not live. It's easier to do a not live, but it's way more rich to do a live. So, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Upchurch called Xanamay herplip. Yes, he did. Oh, he did not like her. See, Upchurch has the mad spidey senses, doesn't he? Mad spidey senses. Kopaka's coordinates go directly from Pullman to Muir National Monument, Bohemian Grove. What, Annie Potts? What are you talking about? How do you see Kopaka's coordinates? Holy caboli. Yeah, I've been to the Muir National Woods. That place is amazing. The redwood trees are gigantic. Um, I don't know that Bohemian Grove is real close to it in my experience, but maybe it is, and I'm just not putting that together. I've never been to Bohemian Grove. Thank goodness. Never even heard of it until the Kylie Rodney case. And then I wish I hadn't. If this Xanamay was Kopaka's contact and possibly tied to Payne and his brother, that would be insane, wouldn't it? Okay, everybody, we got homework. Wow. Okay, these are the nuggets. This is why we're here. This is the meat. This is the potato. I mean, rule it out if nothing else, right? Rule it out. I was looking for those coordinates because I remember seeing it on a channel. I just couldn't remember which one. I thought that was mind blowing as well. Yeah, do you guys remember what channel? I'm so curious who had his coordinates. That would kind of be a nerdy addict kind of thing, or possibly J's for Justice. That girl's just all over everything. The Muir National Forest Park is 6 miles of trails that goes straight to Bohemian Grove. Annie, I had no idea that Bohemian Grove was right there. I used to hike in the Muir National Forest when we lived in San Francisco. We hiked all the time. We were either skiing in Tahoe or hiking or boogie boarding. We got really busy relaxing on the weekends, me and my husband, because we worked really hard during the week. And we basically just put our noses on the grindstone from Monday to Friday, and we took every weekend off and just hung out and had as much fun as we could. So yeah, we'd gone up there a few times to the Muir National Forest, and I was right by the Bohemian Grove. How creepy is that? How freaking creepy is that? Um, yes, wow, this is crazy. I know. Deep breaths, you guys. Deep breaths. Because, yeah, my brain kind of feels like it's popping out right now. I thought it was Dr. Thrifty, but it wasn't there. Maybe it was True Crime Time who have those. Yes, the coordinates. Yes. Yeah, I've been checking out Crew Crime Time. It's hard to say. Um, yeah, it's a great channel. I haven't gotten so much into Dr. Thrifty, but you guys keep bringing that one up, so I should check that one out too. Um, hang on, I'll put the coordinates in chat so you all can verify on your own. Oh, goodness gracious. So, wait, so Kopaka was at Bohemian Grove? What? How are we supposed to comprehend all this? I thought Bohemian Grove was near Big Sur. No, I thought Bohemian Grove was like halfway between um Tahoe and Santa Barbara, roughly. And then Big Sur is a lot further south, isn't it? Isn't Big Sur like south of Monterey? Gorgeous, gorgeous places, you guys. If you haven't been, it is unbelievable out there. It is just mind-boggling, which is why it's so overpopulated. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's a terrible place to live just because it is so overpopulated. If you don't mind the overpopulation, or if you can just look right past that, yeah, the place is amazing. But then again, they have no water. Thus the problems with the whole water rights. Okay, the coordinates, Annie Potts, you guys. I hope you're screenshotting. Um, wow. Thank you, Annie Potts. They use ex-military to guard Bohemian Grove. These coordinates lead directly to Muir Woods National Monument and Bohemian Grove trails in Mill Valley, California. Yeah, see, Mill Valley is amazing. That's where I did my internship, where I worked in a psychiatric facility. It was actually it's called Ross Hospital on Sir Francis Drake Boulevard, and I think that the address was Mill Valley. I have to remember. It's all just amazing there. It's just freaking amazing. Like Sausalito, Tiburon, which is even more cool than Sausalito. Um, Unbelievable. So yeah, I had no idea Bohemian Grove was that close to all of that stuff. I had no idea, even having lived there and exploring all the time. Um, and whoever put those coordinates out suggested that's where the knife would be. Huh. Very interesting. That's a wild one. That is a wild one. Um, There's also a boat that came in under these coordinates listed as a pleasure ship with a Russian name that looks like it says Kopaka, I crap you not. Ho 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 ho. All right. I totally believe you, Annie Potts, because you two have a great track record for being a truth teller. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Four Frogs Fat Asses. I think it was 1111 Turo Mama D. I love 1111 Turo Mama D. I love her. I really do. That's not where the knife is. I believe Kopaka was dropping hints about the tracking element. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Mama D on 1111 Turo, I highly recommend her. She's a cool person. And I think she has a really good channel, really good instincts. I remember Sweetie Pie channel mentioned coordinates found. Interesting. Mama D is amazing. Flossie May 1752. Hey there. Yeah, she is. She's super cool. All right, you guys, we are at 55 minutes. I am ready to wrap up. And at the same time, I want to give people a chance to say any last words before we wrap up for today. And then we'll try to do the 9:30 each day this week and just keep hammering away at the truth seeking. My fear is that this whole Idaho 4 case is going to get pinned on the criminal defendant. He very well could be highly involved, and it could be just him. It could be. It's possible, but I don't think it's very probable or likely. It's almost impossible to me that it could be just him, and that there could be cops hanging out with body cams pointing at the house pretty much while it's going on, and nobody's hearing anything, and police are just like, oh yeah, it took them 8 hours to call us, but that's okay. They had frozen shock syndrome and had to summon other people, so they were busy. So that's all right. We get it. It's cool. Oh, it took us 4 hours to get there. Well, we don't even need to give you an excuse for that because we're in charge. So we do what we do, and you can't do nothing about it. I mean, the whole 12 hours, you guys, gone, 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 gone. I was mentioning yesterday how Scott Peterson had the first 24 hours gone, shot to hell. Guess who else had the first 24 hours gone, you guys? You probably thought about this too right after the live yesterday. The Kylie Rodney case. They all had the first 24 hours wiped out of existence. Remember, Lindsay called 911 to report Kylie missing at like 6 o'clock on Saturday night. And she'd already been quote unquote missing allegedly for more than 20, or no, just under 20 hours. But that's going with the time frame that the liars have given us. So I don't know how reliable that is. Thank you for your time, everyone. Bluestone, that's a nice thing to say. It's really nice to be appreciated, isn't it? And I appreciate you guys. I'll use the Mama D to the moon and back. So I love waking up and waiting for your lives. I am so sorry to keep you waiting, Squirrely Burger. I'm going to try to be more prompt. And if I can't be more prompt, then I'll change the time. Instead of shooting for 9:30, we'll shoot for 10 or something like that. But let's try to stick with the 9:30 if we can. Yeah. All right, you guys. Have a really good day. It's Monday. I hope you are like me and are like TGI Monday, because, my life gets really chaotic over the weekends with 4 kids and 3 cats and 2 dogs and a husband and other people. And I just, I like my routine. So I have a really good routine going. And on the weekends, I have to do a lot of chores, a lot of chaos and a lot of chores. So big money in this case is indicative of Truckee. Yeah. And substances, trafficking. So peace out, get your exercise, eat well, high protein, veggies, lots of produce, and fruit, but mostly veggies, right? Get your sunshine and fresh air. Be kind. Make sure you surround yourself with people that you respect, that respect you, and treat you with kindness. And eat, pray, love, and meditate. And is there anything else? Kittens, puppies, babies. Seriously, those are awesome stress relievers. What was that? The anti-anxiety, anti-stress, like medicine. Like, yeah, kids, babies, pets can all be anti-anxiety medicine, basically. Of course, they can induce anxiety too, you know, given the right set of situation and circumstance. The big money, where are they making all this money? Drugs. There you go. Swirly Burger. That's the big money. I think you nailed it. All right. Peace out. See you tomorrow. And thanks again. And have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care.